might be a starting point in terms of clarifying. And basically what I was thinking is that there were a bunch of things that we identified, and I saw those as processes. There were other kinds of things that looked to me like they were more related to, organization structures kinds of things. There were other things that were related to, policies, rules, laws, regulations, and the like. There's another category of managing and administering resources, and another, which I'm not sure if it was really comparable, but that was an idea that came up fairly early on, dealing with crises. How do you build that in? So why don't you take a look at this for a minute and think, through in terms of, does this organizational piece make sense? And maybe it's not even necessary. I mean, it may be that we don't need this level. We just concentrate on, the things that are this way out.
Roger, based on your sample, you would look on this sheet here and you would say, policy, rules, laws, and regulations, we need to create some sort of content for that.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, basically what I did was I just stipulated policies is, in fact, one thing that we're going to agree is an essential thing, and I, mapped it out using this format.
So, regardless of the organizational structure here, I would think that we could start this process by just choosing one of the broad ideas from here. It doesn't.
And map it out in the same way.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter order here, because what we're going to give to the course developers are a series of these sheets, right?
Exactly.
Okay. And this is just a map to help us get to here.
Correct.
So this becomes obsolete, maybe.
Well, I envision this, and I wish Chris were here. I think I asked him, and I can't remember, that I think this format, all of this can be switched into an outline form. So if you switch it into an outline form, you've got policies, and then you've got the map that I've done as, the map for policies part. So in terms of process, here's where I was thinking we would go. Sort of look at it big picture, then look at this and say, okay, using John Geyer's admonition to make sure that we are focusing on the essential, is there stuff on here that's nice, as John puts it, but not essential? So maybe the first thing is to say, are there things that we know shouldn't be on here, or are there things we know for sure should be on here? We could go that route and then begin mapping those things out. And so maybe the starting point could be just sort of going through these and say essential or not, and then if we say not, we don't have to discuss that at this point. We can just set it aside, but concentrate on the essential. Okay.
I'm just interested if we talk about these 4 different tracks, but the 4 different tracks doesn't line up with the 4 broad branches.
Why are you talking about the 4 pieces?
No, in the box that says managerial and administrative leadership.
You're talking about these 4
Yeah.
not lining up with these in the next theme over.
Yeah. The next tier.
I see what you're saying.
Mhm.
I think what we wanted to do is to preserve the idea that the various tracks would have very specific track-related information related to these 4 areas.
I can see budget and financial fiscal is one and the same. And
Well, in the nonprofit world, the financial, we just said here there would be a big fundraising, there would be a different element to the educational piece, so.
Yeah, I think that's where I would draw a distinction between budget. I mean,
Right, so
Budget
that's why I
is-
would keep it financial separate, because in that arena, it would be different.
okay.
Maybe not in the school arena, but drop begging for the dollars. It's different. But
You don't see budget as a fiscal issue?
Sure, I see budget as a fiscal issue. I just wouldn't want to leave just budget and not have financial in the
Yeah.
category.
I was thinking of financial fiscal funding
That's fine.
and then.
well, I guess the way I would, the distinction I would draw between these two is that financial fiscal, in my mind, relates to the sources of revenue.
Mhm.
Budgeting relates to how those resources, however they're received, how it is that they're allocated, overseen, managed, dispersed. An example would be, right now, the school district, every couple of days, there's another article about their going over the budget. They know with their fiscal situation how much money they're gonna have. Now they have to figure out where that money, limited resources, is how it's gonna be budgeted. Well, how about going through these and identify those that we think would be essential things, and then concentrating on those, starting on those. Strategic planning. How many of you would say essential? Budgeting.
Yes.
Conflict management.
I thought we did this already though. I thought these were the,
Seems to me they're all
I thought these were the results of our the previous
Well,
mapping or?
they were, but I guess maybe we don't need to go for each one.
Mhm.
What I want to make sure is that we respond to John's admonition, which is make sure, and it was connected to the discussion about how many credits the program is going to be,
Right.
30 credits, and you really need to make sure, if you're going to have it
Right.
limited that way, that whatever you have in there,
Has to be.
yeah. So maybe we don't need to go with each one. Does anybody look on this and say, I don't think that's an essential thing that we need to address?
Well, I think transformational leadership is in a different category, because when we talk, that's about models of leadership, and so that brings out.
Okay, yeah.
The reason I was trying to get at the tracks, because I was thinking that if we could collapse budget and financial and fiscal and funding all into one track, there seems to me there's something that's missing, like management as another track. And within this management, there would be this idea of sort of dealing with the daily operations of leadership, the strategic planning, those types of things. So that's a broad stroke something.